All right, what's going on, guys? This is Rob, and we are back again with Invincible. A little late on our upload today, but I kind of had a lot going on this morning, so I didn't get it recorded on time. But here is the thing. In the last video, we basically ended with, as you guys love calling him, Freddie Mercury, but technically his name is Thrag, the emperor of the Viltrumite Empire. But this guy was getting ready to take on Nolan and Mark, right? Omni Man and Mark. And the reason why is because they were basically part of the whole faction that destroyed his world. Right? That the coalition of planets had essentially obliterated the Viltrumite world in an effort to basically end the reign of the Viltrumites. Now, a lot of this was because with no home planet to go back to, anybody that was there on that world at the time was gone, right? They were completely and totally destroyed. And so now they're basically homeless in the vastness of the universe. Not only that, it was a moral blow. Because they were able to destroy the Viltrumite Empire, this really drove a lot of the races out there that were previously conscripted by the Viltrumites to actually turn against the Viltrumites and join the cause of the coalition of planets. So it was as much a moral victory as it was a real battle victory. But again, it was only a small conflict in this Viltrumite war, because following that, Thrag is pissed. Now, Nolan does know about Thrag, right? But he's not dumping anything from Mark, right? Mark immediately goes in to attack Thrag, and he's like, "You killed my brother." He goes to punch him in the head, and nothing happens. Like, literally doesn't draw blood. Thrag doesn't even say ouch, right? It's nothing. He immediately grabs Mark and literally just starts pummeling this guy, smashes the sides of his head. This fight was over before it even started, right? I mean, this kid has no earthly chance, like no possible chance against somebody like Thrag. Now, at that point, Nolan steps in, but even then, Nolan is a half measure here. It's a crazy thing because, like, as they're fighting, at the end of the day, like Thrag's like, okay, so you really sided with Thaddeus, right? You are aware that Thaddeus was the one who basically set the Viltrumite Empire into a state of disarray. And that's one of the things that we talked about before. Remember, when it came to the power or the role the Viltrumites played, initially they were a huge, expansive, conquering race, but the Scourge virus was developed by Thaddeus using his own DNA as a means to destroy the Viltrumite race, because in the mind of Thaddeus, they were horrible, right? Their place, their role in the universe and all of creation was bad, and they needed to be destroyed. And so the result of this is that it's because of the actions of Thrag that Lord Argal died in the first place. The entire empire had been sent into disarray. Any possible heir taking over the throne after Lord Argal was basically gone, and so Thrag was essentially just kind of put in this place instead as the regent. But at the end of the day, the response of Nolan, based on everything he's experienced, right, having been on Earth, facing off against Mark, going on to become a hero, different things like that, because this all basically changed him and turned him into a good guy, the response he has here is, our race deserves to die. Because of the things that we've done and because of how we've harmed people, we don't deserve to live here, right? We don't deserve to exist. Our actions are horrible. The things we've done have been terrible. So, like, our race deserves to die. And for that, he's immediately attacked by Thrag, because it's taken as what is in effect heresy, right? Now, in the middle of this great big huge battle where Omni Man is just getting absolutely thrashed, in comes Battle Beast, right? Now, as you guys know, Battle Beast only really cares about the lust of the battle, right? The lust of the conflict. He just wants to attack whoever, right? Anybody he considers to be a worthy adversary is somebody he will take on. That's Battle Beast, right? He lives for the conflict. He's like a Spartan, right? From the days on Earth, or maybe even somebody worse than the Spartans. He just lives to fight. The funny thing about this is literally this fight is like 2 seconds long, if that. He attacks Thrag, Thrag spins his head on his neck and then throws him away, and that's the end of Battle Beast, right? Like, at the moment, like Battle Beast is basically taken out by Thrag like that. And that's a crazy thing, because when you look at Battle Beast as a character, he overpowered Mark, right? Even Omni Man would struggle with Battle Beast because of how powerful he was. But Thrag just overpowers him in an instant. Now, the other part of this is Alan the Alien and Space Racer, right? These two guys are still here from the Coalition of Worlds, but at the end of the day, they have to kind of bail out of here, right? Because you still have some Viltrumites that are alive around there. And the reality is, even though they're still capable, they're overpowered, right? So if they were to stay and they were to fight, they would die. And so ultimately, it's kind of like, okay, let's get out of here. They ask the question, what do we do about Nolan and Mark? And the response of Space Racer is, we got to leave them, man. Like, we got to leave them here. Like they can hold their own, but if we stay here, we're going to die, right? We have to get back to the Coalition. We have to let them know that the Thaddeus has been killed, right? The leader of the Coalition of planets is dead. We have to find some way to reorganize things, because this war is far from over, right? So switch back over to Thrag, right? To Freddie Mercury and to Nolan and Mark, right? This guy is still crushing him. And that's the funny thing is, Mark asked his dad, he asked Nolan, like, how do we beat this guy? And the response of Nolan is, we can't. We cannot defeat Thrag. Like, it's one of those rare instances when Nolan's like, there's no way for us to win, right? The nature of Nolan is like, he always finds a way to win, right? He keeps fighting and fighting and fighting, doing whatever it is that he has to do, but he's like, there's no way for us to overpower this guy, right? Like, in order for Thragg to be made regent of the Viltrumite Empire, he's been trained from birth, right? He's been made the strongest out of all of us, and he's been educated in every manner of physical combat. Simply put, there's no conceivable way for us to beat this guy by ourselves. This man was literally designed to conquer the Viltrumite race if it came to it, right? To take out his own people. He was designed for that, right? He was trained for that. This guy is a one-man army. He's more than enough to take out the two of us. And so ultimately, like, you kind of have Omni Man who tells Mark, like, look, no matter what's happened over the course of my life, it's important that you know I've always loved you. He's basically saying his goodbyes, right? He tells Mark, get out of here, right? He ends up like telling Mark to get out of here as fast as he possibly can. And Mark does. He does exactly as instructed. He races off. Now, Mark's not doing this because he's a coward. Mark's doing this because he trusts his father. If his father says, we cannot defeat this man on our own, you need to leave, then Mark leaves, knowing that his father might die in the ensuing conflict. Now, the other part of this, I'm gonna be honest, Mark's probably kind of crapping his pants a little bit, just a smidge, right? But at the end of the day, Thragg still manages to get his hands on him and then just starts pummeling this guy. Now, Nolan shows up, right? Omni Man comes racing back, but this is a testament to the speed of Thragg here, right? Nolan comes racing up, right? Because remember, there's no sound in space. You can't hear anything. So Nolan comes racing up on Thragg, and Thragg just senses it out of the corner of his eye and immediately like turns around just in time and impales Omni Man, right? Just punches a hole in his stomach. Now, he goes to kill him, and this is an important thing. He goes to kill them, and then he stops. He doesn't kill Mark and he doesn't kill Nolan. The funny thing is, he could have killed both of them. And something to know here, he's doing all this without breaking a sweat. He's not drawing any, like, they're not drawing any blood on him, right? They're not injuring this guy, right? Like, he's just overpowering them in the most extreme way ever. When the other Viltrumites show up and they say, why are you sparing them? The response of Thragg is, we need them, right? There are so precious few of us Viltrumites left. We need them. We need people to basically function as part of the Viltrumite Empire. Now, the initial response here is no, right? We need Viltrumites, but we need those who are loyal. The response of Thragg is no, it doesn't matter, right? Like, if we are going to survive all of this, we need Viltrumites, but we need them more than anybody else, which is really kind of Thragg saying, like, they're the most powerful of the Viltrumites that exist, right? More powerful than anybody else here. There is a kind of subtlety and there is something else going on behind the scenes as to why that's the case. And in fact, we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get to it. But ultimately, Nolan and Mark are saved by a coalition ship, which basically brings them on board, takes them back to Telestria, the coalition of worlds, all that kind of stuff. And a few things have happened, right? A couple weeks have passed since they've been picked up, and Mark is just now waking up. Of course, again, Nolan recovers faster than Mark does, but something to notice here, Mark's recovering at a much faster rate than he previously used to. But a couple things happened. One, because Thaddeus was killed, Alan the Alien took his place as the leader of the coalition of worlds. The second thing that's going on here is that once he takes Mark to meet with Nolan, you actually end up finding out that Oliver is basically being brought back. Now, it is kind of a plot device here, if we're being honest with ourselves. Oliver basically should have been dead, right? I mean, he doesn't have the ability to breathe in space as long as anybody else does. His arm was ripped off, he was rendered unconscious, but the response that's given here by Nolan is, well, the Viltrumite brain can survive without oxygen longer than pretty much any other brain out there, so he survived by the skin of his teeth. I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, this is Robert Kirkman just kind of rolling with it and just saying, like, insert excuse here for why Oliver continues to survive. But of course, a kind of prosthetic arm is being built for him or being attached to him, and then skin will be grafted over it, so he will be able to feel the difference, but nobody else will see the difference, right? The other thing that's going on here is that, of course, Oliver is healing, but a big part of what's happening is that the planet, the coalition of planets is hunting for the Viltrumite race, but they don't understand what's going on, right? They don't really understand what's happening here. And the reason why is when the question's asked by Mark, like, what do you mean? Like they're not doing anything, right? Because Alan the Alien's like, they're not attacking, right? Like, they're doing absolutely nothing. Like, we can't find them at all. We don't know where they are, right? They're not here anywhere in this galaxy. We can't find them anywhere in existence. We don't know what's happening, right? We've been searching and searching and we can't find them anywhere. We don't know if they're laying low. We don't know exactly what's going on. Nothing that we're seeing makes any sense at all. And then it dawns on Mark, oh my God. And when the question's like, what are you talking about? He's like, okay, so Thragg left us alive for a reason. He could have killed us, but he left us alive for a reason, but they didn't just give up and go into hiding. That's not what Viltrumites do. Viltrumites don't just give up. They don't hide. They don't don't run from the threat. They've always got a goal. So he's like, if he could have destroyed us and he didn't, then what if the goal here is to destroy what's closest to us? And that's when everybody starts to realize what's going on. And Mark speaks up and says, you can't find them in this galaxy, Alan, because they're not in this galaxy. They're in the Milky Way galaxy, guys. They're going to Earth. With that being said, guys, we're going to bring this to an end. Cliffhangers. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you all later. Peace.